And, a lot of that's got to be owed to our main event, Dominic, where Mike Perry, platinum Mike Perry, TKOs the former UFC middleweight champion Luke Rockhold in round two. Kind of a weird finish. When I say this, I'm not saying it disrespectfully, but it is what happened. I mean, Luke ultimately quit, but he quit because I believe there was a tooth issue. Like I don't know if teeth had gotten knocked out
Mm-hmm.
or he had gotten his teeth have gotten fucked up, so he kind of waved it off. Understandable. This is a guy who's fought for titles in the UFC. He's had a great career. He's taken a lot of damage, of course, over the last few years. Like, I don't blame him for not wanting to take any more in this
Yeah.
spot. Like, I don't blame him at all. But for what we got, this was a fun fight too. The first round, both
Mm-hmm.
guys got wobbled. Then obviously in the second round, Mike Perry with the pressure mixed with the volume, he was
Mm.
just never going away. And he was eating some big shots from
No.
Luke and just kept, you could tell Luke was not comfortable with having Mike all up in his grill the whole time. Um, Mike Perry's the perfect representative for this organization, Dominic. And dare I say,
Yeah.
I get Mike Perry's an interesting character and he's kind of a meme at times and whatnot. But I fucking respect the hell out of him for what he's kind of built for himself here in BKFC. Don't get me wrong, he sort of fits the mold of the UFC fighter back like when the tough boom, either right before it or right when it first happened. Like there, he sort of fits that stereotype. But MMA has just exploded and has become so much more of a mainstream sport that a lot of, even though there's still more interesting characters in MMA than there are pretty much in any other sport, it's not near as prevalent as it was back in those days. So
Mm.
for Mike to fully get to showcase who he is and to get the most out of his fighting style, Dominic, he's a problem in bare knuckle in BKFC. BKFC has built something interesting where you see the wins he's had over Luke Rockhold, and before this, he beat MVP. Two guys who, in an MMA fight,
Mm-hmm.
if they were to stay standing the whole time, would strike circles around Mike Perry. But in this environment
Mm-hmm.
where the ring is smaller, they start nearly face to face, and he has all of a sudden, and it really, obviously, with bare knuckle, your durability becomes such a big factor in the amount of punishment you can take. Mike Perry's all of a sudden, Dom, a bubbling star. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think they even announced him as such. The ring announcer, when they were introducing both guys at the start of the fights, some sort of like combat sports star. Or I can't remember how he
Yep,
put it.
yep, that's what
And
he said.
Noah, dare I
Yep.
say, Mike Perry. Okay, yeah, I thought it was something like that. And Mike Perry is now the face of Bare Knuckle FC. That is the star. That is their guy. Noah said he's the perfect representative for this brand and for this sport, and he fucking absolutely is. There's no one else that's even close to representing this brand more than Mike Perry. And when you're getting Conor McGregor to acknowledge you and say, "Oh, you want me to come into the ring and face off with you just for fun? Sure, I'll do it." Noah, your tweet last night was perfect. So I'm going to stop there. Yes, guys, Conor McGregor not only was at BKFC along with Donald Cerrone, Kamaru Usman, Justin Gaethje. I think Noah's actually having a little bit of like weak regret for not going to Colorado this week, knowing he could have been there in attendance.
Yeah.
Conor McGregor in the ring with a bare knuckle belt. Tell me, what did you think? Because I felt we had entered another dimension.
I think this is the work of AI. That's what I think. I think that they once the fight ended, they had a very high level AI program come in and show this. I don't think this actually happened. But what we saw, Conor McGregor in attendance, just throwing back the proper 12 straight out of the bottle. Yeah, that really adds a lot of hope for him and Chandler to fight anytime soon. But he's doing that. He's having a good time, right? They mentioned, like you just said, Donald Cerrone. I think you said Justin Gaethje, Kamaru Usman, all there. Awesome stuff. A lot of people, a lot of interest in this card. Mike Perry gets this big win, and then he goes, like out of respect, he's like, "Man, I would love if Conor McGregor came in and faced off with me." And I was like, "Holy shit!" I said, "There's no chance Conor turns this down because he's he's Conor McGregor. Like, even though is this fight ever going to happen? I would guess not." But Dominic, not only did he come into the ring, he came in with the fucking BKFC title belt already over his shoulder, faced off with Mike Perry, and you can hear the mics picking up. He's saying, "Oh, I'd fight you in a second." He's like, "Remember what Cowboy did to you? Remember what I did to Cowboy." Like, he's like really like he kind of was like, "Oh, you're going to call me out for a face off here? Like, don't believe I won't fight you." And then to BKFC's credit, they're like, "Holy shit, Conor McGregor is in our ring right now. We have to like make the most of this." So they get him on the microphone, ask him what he thought of the card. And Dominic, he had a glowing review for Bare Knuckle FC. Said the matchmaking and storytelling is beautiful. He loved it. He believes that it can be a big deal and would love to be a part of it. What, Dominic? What the fuck just happened? I mean, this is this is this is like when that picture of Kim Kardashian came out with the ass, all sticking out with the I think it was the one with the wine glass or whatever on it, and it's broke the
Yeah.
internet or whatever.
Yeah.
This was the MMA equivalent of that. This broke the internet. Like, what the fuck happened here? I still just can't believe it happened. Obviously, I don't think much comes out of it. Our colleagues will say, or the other people in the space over on Spin and Backfish, shout out Barstool. But they had tweeted, I already feel for the reporter who asked Dana White about this and gets completely bitched out, Dominic. Do you think Dana had a mini aneurysm when this happened?
He had to have. That was the funniest thing going around were the memes of like, "Oh, Dana's gonna love this," and it was the picture of Connor facing off with Mike, or a side picture of Connor with the belt, and just oh my gosh, it was a moment that honestly, it's like an all-time thing that's happened throughout our 2.5 years of doing this podcast. That's up there as like a big time crazy ass moment we've gotten to cover in this wild game that we love, and you know call me crazy. I don't think it's that wild of a possibility that Connor could be in bare knuckle one day for a fight. Could it be Mike Perry? I mean, I guess there's no one else that would make a much more fun fight than that, but I don't necessarily think he's going to do it. But he could be like a big ambassador for them. Look at like the Jake Paul thing with PFL. Connor could be like just a huge name that promotes their fights or talks about how cool it is, and then bam, you know how many followers Conor McGregor has? Some of them are going to come on over, trickle in, and buy a bare knuckle pay per view. So last night, Bare Knuckle saw that, and you could tell like it was completely like improv. Shout out to the ring announcer or the commentary because he's like, Mike, 1 second, we got to get Connor real fast. Mike had just won a fight. He's like, nope, go over there real quick. We got to get Connor to talk about the brand. So I don't know what's going to happen, what could come of it, but it's only good things for BKFC.
And that cannot be overstated. The card delivered. I even watched some of the cards underneath those two. Dominic, it was fun fights throughout. Yeah, Ben
Yeah.
Rothwell got a big win on there. That was a back and forth fight that he nearly lost, but then the corner threw in the towel for the other guy. And you had a championship bout on here. Like, you had a lot of good fights. So, you brought people in with those two at the top, those two fights at the top. But if you watched enough, you got to see some of the more homegrown bare knuckle talent. And I like that bare knuckle leans in more to kind of this wackiness that is combat sports. Because, Dominic, there's a lot of wacky shit going on in
Hmm.
combat sports. And instead of turning the other cheek to it, they sort of embrace it. And sometimes you do get some situations where that's not for the best. You had the guy that unfortunately passed away when he really shouldn't have been fighting, probably in bare knuckle, anyways.
Hmm.
Less of that, please. But also, you do get these times where they embrace some of these characters like a Mike Perry. And not only does it work, but Mike Perry's like kind of a star for bare knuckle now. And I love it. I love it for him. I love it that you have this out there that you can continue bringing in some of these guys that want to keep fighting, but maybe their MMA career, the opportunities have sort of dried up there, and maybe they can't quite get that boxing fight they're looking for. Bare Knuckle is another opportunity to make some money. That is a viable promotion that is doing some good things, doing some interesting things. I mean, Dominic, the center of the ring had a big old OnlyFans ad
Yeah.
sitting there, and I was,
Yeah.
I was like, "Yep, this is BKFC, baby." Gonna knock any of the drug testing BKFC has because I don't know what they do. But Chad Mendez's traps had traps, so because of
Yeah.
that, if Donald Cerrone, who is admittedly on steroids, maybe he can still get a fight in BKFC. That'd be pretty cool.
Oh, it's gonna be fun to follow, Noah.
Actually, can I tell you what I think's happening next with Mike Perry? I forgot to mention this. I
Mhm.
think he's the fight that I think Mike Perry gets next, Dominic. How about Darren Till?
Ho, 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 ho. Okay. Well, Darren did get released from the UFC. I kind of forgot about that. Huh. They had kind of have a interesting relationship, to say the least. Those two guys. I am
That's
here
true.
for that. I think? Question mark. Fuck it. Let's do it.
Yeah, they could finally have that spa that they were talking
The
about way
spa.
back in the day.
Yes.
So I think that would